The sky above the planet was dark red, filled with smoke and fire. Broken ships burned on the ground like dying stars. The war was over, but death was still everywhere. The alien warrior lay on the cold metal floor of the battlefield. His armor was cracked. One of his arms was useless. Dark blood flowed from deep wounds across his chest. Every breath felt heavy, slow, and painful. He could hear distant explosions, but they were fading. His people were leaving. He turned his head with great effort. Alien ships were lifting into the sky, one by one, leaving him behind. The warrior's name was Koreth, a commander of his kind. He had fought in many wars. He had never known fear like this, not fear of death, but fear of being forgotten. A cold voice echoed in his memory. "We cannot save him. The cost is too high. He is lost." Those words hurt more than his wounds. Koreth closed his eyes. Among his people, honor meant everything. To be left behind was the deepest shame. It meant he was no longer worth saving. He accepted the truth. He would die alone, far away, hidden among the ruins. A human soldier watched the same sky. His name was Ethan Cole. Ethan's armor was damaged, his helmet cracked. Blood ran down his face from a deep cut above his eye. His left leg hurt with every step. His rifle showed a warning light. Low ammo. The human unit had already pulled back. His radio came alive with sharp voices. "Cole, fall back now. Enemy movement detected. Leave the area immediately." Ethan did not answer. He looked through the smoke and saw something moving. At first, he thought it was debris. Then he saw the shape. Big, broken, breathing. An alien warrior. Ethan froze. Humans and these aliens had been fighting for weeks. The aliens were known as strong, proud, and merciless in battle. Many humans had died facing them. Training told Ethan one thing: finish the enemy. But something was wrong. This alien was not fighting. He was dying. Koreth felt footsteps near him. Slow, careful. He forced his eyes open. A human stood before him. Small, weak-looking. A thin creature wrapped in metal and cloth. One of the enemy. Koreth waited for pain. For the final shot. But it did not come. The human just stood there, breathing hard, staring at him. Ethan lowered his rifle. The alien's eyes were not full of rage. They were tired, empty. Ethan had seen that look before, on human faces. The look of someone who knew they were about to die. The radio screamed again. "Cole, this is an order. Fall back. You are risking your life." Ethan's hand trembled. He looked at the alien warrior, then at the sky, where human ships were already gone. He pressed a button. The radio went silent. Ethan stepped closer. Koreth tried to move, but pain crushed him. He growled softly, ready to fight with his last breath. The human raised one hand. "Easy," Ethan said, his voice calm but weak. "I'm not here to kill you." Koreth did not understand the words fully, but he understood the tone. Confusion filled him. No one stayed behind for enemies. No one stayed behind for him. Ethan kneeled beside the alien. Up close, the alien was massive. Even injured, he looked powerful. Thick armor fused with flesh. Deep scars told stories of many battles. Ethan swallowed. This was crazy. Enemy patrols would return soon. Saving this alien could cost his life. Still, he reached into his pack and pulled out a small medical tool. Koreth watched in silence. The human touched his wound. Pain burned through him. He roared. Ethan did not move back. "I know," Ethan said softly. "I know it hurts." Koreth stared at him. Why was the human still here? Why had he not left like the others? In the distance, engines roared. Enemy units were returning. Ethan heard it too. He looked around fast. Broken walls. Fallen metal. Smoke. No safe place. No good choices. He looked back at the alien. "If I leave you here," Ethan whispered, "they'll tear you apart." He made his decision. Ethan grabbed a thick strap from his armor and wrapped it around the alien's chest. Koreth felt the pull. "What are you doing?" He growled in his language. Ethan did not understand the words, but he understood the fear. "I'm getting you out," he said. With a painful cry, Ethan pulled. The alien's body was heavy, far heavier than any human. Every step hurt. Ethan's injured leg screamed in pain. Still, he moved. Korath felt something strange. Hope. Weak. Dangerous. But real. He had prepared himself to die. Now, a human was dragging him through fire and ruin. No one had ever done that. Not even his own people. Shots echoed nearby. Energy weapons flashed through the smoke. Ethan ducked behind a broken wall, pulling the alien with him. He was breathing hard now. His vision blurred. "This is insane," he muttered. Korath saw blood dripping from the human's armor. The human was hurt, yet he did not stop. Enemy voices echoed closer. Ethan checked his rifle. Only a few shots left. He looked at the alien. "If they come," he said quietly, "I'll hold them as long as I can." Korath felt shame burn inside him. He, a great warrior, was helpless. Saved by a human. The ground shook. Enemy machines moved closer. Ethan pulled the alien again, toward a dark tunnel under the ruins. Almost there. Almost safe. A blast hit nearby. Ethan was thrown forward. He hit the ground hard. Pain exploded through his body. His rifle slid away. Korath roared in anger and fear. The human did not move. Smoke filled the air. Footsteps came closer. Korath dragged himself forward with his good arm. He reached the human. Ethan's eyes were open, but unfocused. Still alive. Barely. Korath placed his massive body over the human, shielding him. For the first time in his life, Korath did something no alien warrior had ever done. He protected a human. Enemy shadows appeared through the smoke. Weapons aimed. The moment stretched. Then, a loud explosion shook the battlefield. Everything went dark. Smoke filled the tunnel, thick and choking. The explosion from earlier had blown debris across the entrance, but Ethan and Korath were still alive. The human soldier coughed and pressed his back against the cool metal wall, trying to steady his racing heart. Pain shot through his leg with every movement. The alien warrior, though massive and powerful, groaned in agony, his armor bent and scorched from the blast. For a moment, neither spoke. The only sounds were the faint echo of distant footsteps and the occasional drip of water from the cracked ceiling. Ethan looked at the alien. Korath's large green eyes were narrow, filled with confusion and anger. The warrior had expected death. Instead, he found himself alive and helpless, being saved by the very creatures people considered weak. Ethan swallowed hard and muttered, "We're not done yet." Korath's voice was rough, almost a growl. "Why? Why do you care?" Ethan didn't answer right away. Instead, he gently applied a medical gel to the alien's chest wounds. Korath flinched. Pain, cold metal, and human touch mixed in a strange way he had never felt before. Humans were supposed to be selfish, cruel, weak. But this one was none of those things. "You're alive because I said so," Ethan said simply. "Don't question it." Korath stared at him. No alien had ever dared talk to him like this. None had ever risked themselves for him. Not his commanders. Not his soldiers. Never. And here was a human, risking death, carrying him, healing him. The thought burned in Korath's chest, a mixture of shame, confusion, and awe. Outside the tunnel, the sounds of enemy patrols grew louder. Metallic footsteps, low hums of scanning drones, and the occasional shout reminded them that danger was not gone. Ethan adjusted his grip on Korath's heavy body and began moving. Every step was agony. His leg screamed with pain, his side throbbed, and blood from his earlier wound stained the tunnel floor. Korath noticed the effort. This human is barely alive, yet he carries me. For the first time, he felt respect and something deeper, gratitude. They reached a small ledge inside the tunnel where the rubble had formed a narrow passage. Ethan set Korath down carefully. "You need to rest," Ethan said. Korath grunted. "Rest? Do you think I can rest when death is around every corner?" Ethan shook his head. "No, but if you collapse, they'll catch us both. We move when we have strength." Korath remained silent. He didn't fully understand the human's logic. To the aliens, strength was power, brute force. To this human, strength was patience, endurance, and sacrifice. It was something different, something human. Hours passed in the tunnel. The pair moved carefully, hiding behind debris, avoiding drones, and listening for enemy patrols. Koreth was weak, but he tried to keep up. Every step forced him to confront a new level of vulnerability. Aliens were not used to being carried or treated gently. But the human never faltered. At one point, Koreth tripped on a loose metal beam. Ethan grabbed him immediately, nearly falling himself. "Careful," he hissed, his voice low but urgent. The alien grunted. "I am not fragile." "You are right now," Ethan replied. "So don't argue and move." It was strange. Koreth wanted to growl in anger to assert dominance. But he couldn't. This human was keeping him alive, and deep down, he knew that without Ethan, he would have already died. As night fell, the tunnel grew darker. The only light came from the faint glow of damaged ships outside, casting shadows that danced across the walls. Ethan finally allowed Koreth to rest against the wall. He rummaged in his pack and found a small container of water and a nutrient bar. "Drink," Ethan said. "You need it." Koreth hesitated. His pride screamed at him to refuse. Yet the pain was unbearable. Slowly, he accepted the water. His throat was dry, and every swallow felt like fire. Ethan watched quietly. He said nothing. He had learned long ago that words were not always necessary in these moments. Action spoke louder. And what he was doing now, saving this alien, moving him, protecting him, was louder than any speech. Suddenly, a noise echoed down the tunnel. A scraping sound, soft but deliberate. Ethan froze. He motioned for Koreth to stay low. A patrol of enemy drones emerged from a side passage, their sensors glowing red. "Move!" Ethan whispered. He grabbed the alien and ducked behind a pile of rubble. The drones scanned slowly, humming as their sensors passed over them. Koreth felt fear, a sensation he rarely experienced. But beside him, the human was calm. His breathing was steady, his eyes alert. Ethan waited for the perfect moment. When the drones turned slightly, he whispered, "On my mark, run!" The next few seconds were chaos. Ethan pushed Koreth forward, the alien staggering but following. He rolled to avoid a blast of laser fire. Sparks rained down around them. They emerged into a larger room, debris scattered, smoke curling from small fires. Ethan used the wall as cover and waited for the drones to pass. The alien finally spoke, his voice low and tense. "You are reckless, human." "Why?" Ethan did not answer immediately. Instead, he checked Koreth's wounds again. "Because if I don't, you die. And I can't leave you." The word shocked Koreth. Never before had a human, or anyone, said something so simple, so powerful. "You risk everything for me." Ethan shrugged. "We don't leave people behind. Ever." It was a principle. A simple truth that humans carried through war after war. To aliens, it might have seemed foolish. But to Koreth, it was amazing. Hours passed. They moved through the wreckage of the battlefield, hiding, crawling, and occasionally running. Every step brought them closer to safety, but also brought new dangers. At one point, a large enemy patrol cornered them in a collapsed ship hangar. There was no cover, nowhere to hide. Ethan whispered to Koreth, "Get ready. We fight together." The alien warrior's body tensed. For the first time in days, he felt the adrenaline of battle. Not to conquer, not to kill enemies for glory, but to survive, to protect, and to trust. Ethan fired his rifle with precision, taking down a drone before it could raise the alarm. Koreth, even injured, used his massive strength to throw debris at incoming enemies. Together, they made an odd but effective team. Every move forced Koreth to confront a new truth. The human was brave beyond reason, skilled beyond expectation, and committed to him with no reward in mind. No alien had ever done this. After the fight, they collapsed in a small chamber, both breathing heavily. Koreth's chest heaved, his mind racing. "I do not understand. Why help me?" Ethan placed a hand on his shoulder. "Because it's the right thing. That's all it takes. One choice can save a life." Koreth's eyes softened, though pain burned through every nerve. He had fought countless battles, yet never felt such clarity. This human was showing him what honor really meant. Not glory, not power, not victory, but loyalty, courage, and compassion. By dawn, they reached the edge of the battlefield. The ruined landscape stretched for miles. Kareth could see remnants of his people in the distance, but none were coming for him. He realized something he had never admitted. He did not want to return. Ethan looked at him. "We make it to the rendezvous point, and you rest. Then we go from there." Kareth nodded slowly. He wanted to say more, to question, to demand answers, but words failed him. For now, he only followed the human, trusting him completely. Night had given way to dawn, and the two soldiers, unlikely allies, moved silently through the wreckage. The alien warrior, once proud and unshakable, now relied on a human for survival. And yet, he had never felt stronger in spirit. Ethan, despite injuries and exhaustion, kept his pace steady. Every step, every careful movement, was a choice. And every choice saved them both. As the sun rose over the scarred horizon, Kareth realized a truth he could not ignore. If humans were capable of this bravery, compassion, selflessness, then perhaps they were the most dangerous and honorable creatures in the galaxy. And in that quiet moment, amid the ruins of war, a bond was forged, a bond that neither enemy fire, nor alien politics, nor the scars of battle could ever break. They were no longer alien and human. They were partners in survival, bound by respect, trust, and an unspoken promise. No one gets left behind. Ever, the ruined battlefield lay behind them, silent except for the distant echoes of burning ships. Smoke curled into the red dawn sky. Ethan's leg throbbed, his chest ached, and every movement reminded him of yesterday's wounds. But the human soldier pressed on. Beside him, Kareth moved with more strength than the day before, though pain marked every step. For the first time since the war began, Kareth felt a strange confidence. He was not alone, and this human, this small, fragile creature, had shown him a truth no alien commander had ever taught. Courage is more than strength, it is choice. They reached a small ravine where the wreckage provided cover. Ethan crouched behind a crumbling wall, scanning the horizon. His ammo was low, his armor battered. Yet he was alive, breathing, alert. Kareth noticed a determination etched into every line of the human's face. He had seen humans fight before, but never like this, not for glory, not for honor, but for someone else. "You should rest," Kareth said, his voice rough. "I can't." "Not yet," Ethan replied. "We're close. Reinforcements are nearby." The alien frowned. "Reinforcements? For whom?" "For both of us," Ethan said, nodding toward the distant ridge. "I called them. They will help." Kareth's sharp eyes scanned the horizon. Alien drones patrolled the area, moving in patterns. If they were spotted, death would come fast. But Ethan had calculated the timing. There was a chance, a small, dangerous chance, to escape. Hours passed in tense silence as they moved from cover to cover. Ethan limped slightly, each step a battle against pain and exhaustion. Kareth occasionally leaned on him, and Ethan never protested. The alien had never experienced trust like this before. Every step they took together built an unspoken bond, survival, respect, and the beginning of friendship. Then, suddenly, alarms blared in the distance. A squad of elite alien soldiers, much larger, better armed, and faster than any patrol, moved toward them. They had discovered the escape route. Ethan pressed Kareth against the wall, scanning. "We fight," he whispered. "Stay close." The alien warrior's muscles tensed. Despite injuries, he raised his massive blade, preparing to strike. He had fought for glory before, but never with a human by his side, and never had a human save him. The elite soldiers advanced. Laser rifles glowed, scanning for movement. Ethan fired first, precise and deadly. Kareth struck with brutal power, every swing of his blade controlled, careful not to endanger the human. Together, they formed a rhythm, human tactics and alien strength combined. Ethan dodged a blast and rolled, coming up behind an enemy. Kareth's blade smashed another drone, sparks flying. The battle was chaotic, violent, and relentless. But even through the pain, a strange synchronization emerged. They had fought together without words. Trust had become instinct. At one point, Kareth faltered. Pain made him stumble. An enemy shot aimed for him. Ethan threw himself over the alien warrior, taking the hit. Pain exploded through his shoulder. He barely moved, barely breathed, but he kept Korath alive. The alien's eyes widened. For the first time, he saw the true meaning of human courage. Risk everything, sacrifice without hesitation. Why? Korath growled. Ethan coughed, blood on his lips. Because I don't leave people behind, he said simply. The words hit Korath harder than any blade. Honor, courage, strength, they were not just traits. They were choices, and humans lived by them in ways aliens could hardly imagine. The battle intensified. Drones exploded around them. Alien soldiers fell. Yet Ethan and Korath pushed forward. The rendezvous point was near, a safe zone where human reinforcements would extract them. But one final obstacle remained, a massive enemy mech armored and armed with plasma cannons. Cover me! Ethan shouted. I'll take it down. The alien hesitated. No, it's too strong. Ethan shook his head. If I fall, it doesn't matter. We fight together. With a roar, Korath charged, his blade swinging with fury. Ethan fired, dodged, and led the mecha's attention toward the alien. Every move was coordinated. Every strike counted. A final blast from Ethan's rifle hit the mecha's weak spot. Sparks and flames erupted. The machine collapsed. Silence followed. They were alive, exhausted, blooded, and battered. The two looked at each other. Korath's chest heaved, pain running through him. Ethan leaned against the wall, breathing hard. They had survived. Why? Korath asked again, softer this time. Ethan smiled faintly. Because it's the right thing. That's all it takes. One choice can save a life. The alien warrior looked at him in awe. No one had ever risked so much for him. Not his commanders. Not his soldiers. And now, a human had. Reinforcements arrived. Human ships landed nearby, rescuing them from the battlefield. The human commanders looked shocked to see Korath alive, and next to him, Ethan, battered but standing. Reports quickly spread through the alien ranks. The greatest warrior of their kind had been saved by a human. Korath, despite his injuries, stepped forward. His voice echoed through the field. This human saved me, he said, proud, unafraid. When my people abandoned me, he risked everything. Do not underestimate humans. They are brave, loyal, honorable. Alien soldiers and commanders fell silent. None expected this. None believed it. Ethan's unit approached, nodding silently. They had fought alongside him, seen his courage, and now understood what he had done. Humans did not always fight for glory or gain. Sometimes they fought because it was the right thing. Korath looked at Ethan, eyes filled with respect. I owe you my life, he said. Forever. Ethan shook his head. No, you owe nothing. You're alive. That's enough. The alien warrior hesitated, then knelt, an ancient gesture of respect, rarely given to anyone. Humans are more than we imagined, Korath said. Ethan smiled faintly. We don't leave people behind, he repeated. News of their story spread across the galaxy. Aliens who had feared humans now respected them. Humans were no longer just strong. They were brave beyond measure, capable of compassion and honor in ways the universe rarely saw. For Korath, life changed forever. He returned to his people, but the memory of Ethan's courage never left him. He trained a new generation of warriors, teaching them not just to fight, but to value life, honor choices, and understand humanity. Ethan returned to Earth, wounded but alive. His actions became legend among human soldiers. Not because of his skill, but because of his heart. He had proven that courage was not measured by the number of enemies you defeated, but by the lives you chose to protect. Months later, Korath visited Ethan again. This time, not in war, but in peace. The alien warrior brought gifts from his people, rare metals, symbols of honor, but more importantly, he brought respect. Humans saved my life, Korath said. Now I want to return the favor. In any way I can. Ethan laughed softly, shaking his head. You already did. You survived. You learned. That's enough. They stood side by side, human and alien, two warriors from different worlds, bound by something deeper than war or politics. Trust, courage, and respect. And in that quiet moment, Korath realized a truth he would never forget. When the galaxy abandons you, a human may still show you what honor truly is. Ethan smiled. "We don't leave people behind," he said again. And this time, Korath nodded, understanding fully. It was not just a promise. It was a legacy.